Hey there, and welcome to LogoDesign.Net. My name's Lilah Higgins, and I'll be your instructor today. Today I'm going to show you how to give different personalities to your logo designs using a grid in Illustrator.
Grids tend to produce geometric shapes, but there is a way to use grids that creates a more organic, emotional feel, and I'm going to walk you through a few ways to accomplish this. Gridding is not only helpful for balance and structuring really clear and balanced designs, but it can be really helpful for stretching your design muscles and creating truly custom designs as you compile multiple shapes and lines together. Without further ado, let's jump into today's tutorial. First, we're going to grab our favorite gridding paper, a pencil of choice, and your favorite ink. It's also helpful to have a ruler of some kind and some stencils on hand. We're also going to be working on my MacBook Pro in Illustrator by Adobe. Now there's multiple kinds of graph paper you can use, but the most popular three types are dotted, multi-line graph, and isometric, which is a triangular paper. I'll be using multi-line graph because it's my favorite, and there's the added bonus that you can also use it as if there's dots as well. Now when I start and I want to make organic shapes with emotion, I always try to think outside the box of the squares. Get it? So I will start playing with some circles, ovals, and eyelets, etc. I want you to think of gridding as a guide, not a cage. It's simply there to help you create shapes and feel balanced and whole, but not shapes that feel too constrained. Anytime I'm working on any design that comes out really solid, I probably spend 2 to 3 hours sketching and playing with it on paper before I get on the computer. And it's just really helpful to have the graph paper to keep you within the lines and help you build balanced structures while still also adding that emotional personality to them. I recommend sketching with rounder shapes, asymmetrical lines, and compositions that aren't typical. And ask yourself, what would my subject look like in grid lines? How can I think outside the box with this design? Remember, during your sketching phase, there's always time for optical adjustments once you're in the final stages of your design. Optical adjustment is basically when your design is tweaked by your eye and looks properly aligned, but may not necessarily be in line according to the precise measurements of the graph. There's always room for optical adjustment at the end. When in doubt, choose your emotion and then choose your subject. Both things that can be gathered together during the intake phase of your project. How emotion and subject come together to make a simple and cohesive message, that is what makes a truly great logo. To use a gridded background in Illustrator, you're going to open a new file in Illustrator of any size and then select View, then scroll all the way down and check Show Grid. Then start building your custom grid based on your sketch. I like to use Snap to Grid also under View. That way when I go to create a shape, it will snap to those lines individually. I'm working on this simple wolf design. I'm going to show you how it can go from annoyed or calm to a more fierce or determined emotion simply by changing a few lines. I'm going to build out my grid the same as I did in the sketch prior to this. This grid is a good mix of circles and squared lines and even diamond shapes. Remember, to keep the perfect dimensions of a circle in Illustrator, hold down the Shift key while creating a shape. There's a lot of copying and pasting that happens, so remember the shortcut commands Command-C and Command-V for copy-paste on Mac, or Control-C, Control-V if you're on a PC. It is good design practice to copy and paste your work as you're going so that you can always go back to an earlier version. So I'll copy and paste it here and then start filling in those lines that I want to keep and eliminate the lines that are extra. For your sake, I'm keeping the original grid lines so that you can see the before and after. To build this wolf, I'm going to cut the lines and join them to the intersection lines using the cut tool. What we'll end up with here is a singular simplified shape version of my sketch, and then we can go fill with the colors that we want. If you're struggling to get the lines to properly connect, you can select View Outline, and it will simplify your design to outlines so that you can see where the lines actually start and stop. This will keep your design more nice and clean. As humans, we naturally see faces in objects. It's called Pareidolia. Pareidolia. And because of how our brains work, we attach emotions to those things. As designers, it's our job to make sure our viewers are seeing what we intend them to see, the emotions we intend them to see. This is what we're going to play into here when we're creating the eyes for this wolf. What we want to do is we want to give it a fierce, more determined, confident look versus something bland or even more natural. By simply angling the eyes down, we're going to naturally assign an emotion to it. When you've got your design how you like it, simply remove the grid lines and do any final cleanup and coloring. Let's walk through 2 more designs to show you the versatility of emotion that you can incorporate into your next gridded logo design. Obviously, we're going to find faces in things, and sometimes it requires an exaggerated version of that emotion to really relay the message correctly. In this design, I had a few subjects that I wanted to include, so I settled on an above head shot that created a face. It's a bit goofy, but that's the point. The brand obviously doesn't take itself too seriously. Here, my emotion was happy, and my subject was watermelon, drinks, and fruit. The next design is a deer that I really like. My emotion was confidence and my subject was deer, so as I was designing, I considered a puffed out chest to be a sign of confidence and decided to pull the deer's head back to create this effect. I wanted the deer to come off as confident and a little bit proud while still having a playful confidence about it. Check out here at the end how I can take that away really easily and make it more of a natural shape, lacking in any specific emotion. Watch what happens when I move the head forward, in what is actually a more natural shape for the deer, but one has a little bit of a snarky attitude and the other one does not. If you get stuck and you're not sure how to incorporate emotion into your next design, search online for that expression and emotion and take some notes on what it looks like for humans. It could be as simple as a head tweak for curiosity, an eyebrow adjustment for sass, an arm gesture for sadness, or the curve of a spine for an inviting presence. You're likely only 1 or 2 tweaks away from achieving that emotion that you want to achieve with your work, and I encourage you to use this method to break down your next project into a simple emotion and a simple subject, and then put those two together and see what happens.
Thanks for joining me for today's tutorial. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope that you will start using grids in your more organic designs too. Remember to visit LogoDesign.Net to check out more of our tutorials and follow us by subscribing below on YouTube. I'm Lilah Higgins, and I'll see you next time.